What's up, Superfans? It is Fit Nerd and Flash Fanatic, and we're going to talk about all of the madness that has been going on. We just saw the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange sequel after many years. We have a lot to talk about, so without further ado, this is your final and only warning. This is your spoiler warning. We're going to discuss about the whole shebang. We are doing a 50k subscriber giveaway for the Nano Iron Man Gauntlet, fully loaded with the Infinity Stones and LED lights. Simply hit the subscribe button, comment below, and like this video.
Go. Alright, so first off, and I'm going to keep this, and I know that we already said that there are spoilers in there, but this is actually not really even a spoiler thing. I want to commend the entire cast on a well-done performance in every single person's part. I think we can agree on that the acting was on point. I felt like I was actually, I felt like this was the right balance of self-contained movie, but also enough for you to know, yes, there has been a shift, Endgame occurred, No Way Home occurred, all these other things kind of occurred, and then you're like looking at it and saying, oh, actually, if you were to just say this was the last Stephen Strange movie, and then there was a 5-year time gap, I could totally get behind that. I would not have to need to see any of the other movies in between to know that what happened with this movie. But with that said, I was not... I could say I wasn't totally impressed with what I saw out of it. Like I said, the acting, the plot was alright. It was moving forward. Sometimes it felt a little dragging. Sometimes it felt like there wasn't enough time to explore some things. But what we got was...
Did you feel a little bit rushed at times? A couple of times I felt like it was rushed.
I felt like sometimes there were a little bit of the scenes that basically it felt like it was just a drop too soon. They went on to the next scene way too quickly. They didn't address a couple of things in certain scenes. Just like to kind of give an example of this, they do a scene where they're talking about their memories. They go to this like a reality where they step on this panel and it lets them see like a very cherished memory or something like that. I mean, you could have spent a little bit more time getting to know more of the motivations of the characters, but all you know, like for like a split second, is, oh yeah, I didn't know I had powers, and then I ended up sending my moms through multiple dimensions and they're dead. Like, I was like, you just made that conclusion up? Like, the America Chavez, who did an amazing performance.
Oh, I love her. I love that. She did phenomenal. She did
amazing. But I felt like, it was just like a one-line thing here, just to say, yeah. So can't control my powers. And then like the reasoning for that is because when I was a little girl, I sent my parents to other dimensions and they died, and I'm like, okay, that makes zero sense, because you're traveling dimensions and you're not dead. And this looks like it happened maybe something like 10 years ago. Mordo, when Mordo and Strange are alone in the room, there's this oh yeah, I'll cast my vote when everyone comes back. Dude, do you not hear there's a battle ensuing outside? You're not going to go out and help them? You're not going to do anything? You're just going to stay here and watch.
Did he not hear the screams?
Yeah.
They were literal screams. People died.
Yeah, there were times that I just was watching and I was like, alright, it seemed like just like a dumb, for the level of intelligence you have of Stephen Strange and even Baron Mordo. Like, you absolutely had enough smart people in the room to know this is not going our way. We should probably handle this. They know, Scarlet, that was a throwaway line. Oh, Scarlet Witch, we could handle them. Scarlet Witch, we could handle her. I was like, what?
She's a
she's a nexus.
For the most genius people out there, which is Illuminati, they should know that a Nexus being is not to be trifled with. Like, they literally were completely outmuscled, power level wise.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, but with that said, I will say that the other, and again, I guess maybe I'm focusing more too much on the negative right now. I'm going to say more about my positives for this, but the other thing and this is where we're probably going to get into a little bit of disagreement, is I felt like they didn't do the right way of introducing the new, like, expanding the universe of the MCU. Now, through the previews, we knew that Professor X was going to be in this movie, but that's it. We don't have an introduction of the Xavier Institute other than that's like his background. We do get the animated, comic book accurate, even with the, like, John, I know you'll like this, when he rolls out, literally, he has, yep, they just play, they snip it, the 90s animated cartoons,
that was awesome,
and intro. And that, I mean, I was like, oh yes, I was super excited. What I was even more excited for, quite honestly, I called this. If you guys look at our TikTok stream before the show, I had no idea. I was like, who would be great for someone on the Illuminati, and we know a little bit about the Illuminati going into this, is Reed Richards, and I was like, John Krasinski would be perfect for this role, and I believe that he was even in consideration at one point for the role. And they do the fan service. They gave us him. But
fans won.
The fans won. Absolutely.
Bow to Marvel. That is amazing for them to do that. Because that is... chef kiss.
But I'm gonna just give
here's
one
the
caveat. Here's the but. Yeah, here's the but.
Here's the but. This is where I agree with you too. This is where I got hurt.
But almost immediately after introducing all these characters, they kill all of them off. Except, actually, I think Baron Mordo actually might have been the only one who was spared. He was just like trapped somewhere.
Yeah.
But everyone else, I know that John is super upset that they've killed off Professor X for like the 5th time in movies.
This man can't stay alive, and no matter what franchise it is. Like, every franchise, you gotta kill him the best you got. He's the best you got. You most even killed Logan, for God's sakes. He was your cash cow. What the?
Look, you have your kill count. We have Logan, ding. We have the original X-Men, the one where I think Jean Grey is the one to kill him. That's number 2. We have this movie, number 3. We let me think. I'm trying to think if there was any time in
Logan. He died in Logan.
Logan. Yeah, he died in Logan. That was the 3rd time.
That was the 3rd time. So this is the 4th. This is the 4th. This is the 4th time.
Well, he was then he was reborn. I don't remember. Oh, I don't know. He was reborn somehow. I don't remember what happened after that. But basically, it's like you decide to do this, and then not only that, but it's not just him. I mean, and I will say this. This is like where the pros come in. Now, how it was shot was absolutely Sam Raimi. He did the Evil Dead. He's done Spider-Man. But the main thing is that it was shot in such a way that you give enough gore that you could show in a PG-13 movie that it doesn't, like, I guess, hit the ceiling. It's touching the ceiling, but it's not going past it. And
for me, I think there should have been more goriness. I think that wasn't enough.
Well, I thought that there was.
Given what we're talking about, I'm speaking in reference to like the demon side and you should see a person here and there get crushed and splat.
So what I'm talking about is more when in the fight against Wanda, Scarlet Witch. Against the Illuminati, and the first thing she does is like big news. Black Bolt, the one had very
comic
limited
book accurate.
was in the movie, and there's a line he goes, and or like they say is like Black Bolt can like kill you with opening it, like just saying one word with his mouth, and then she goes like, "What mouth?" And basically erases
Matrix.
his mouth.
The first thing I thought about was Neo.
and then he tried to say something, and I think it backfired or something, and it like blew his brains out. And you just see his head.
That was a shot. Yeah. I'll give him props. As mad as I am about that entire scene, I genuinely loved the scene at the same time because of the amount of shock factor it gave the audience. Because I was like, oh no! Like, we just got blackballed! We just got black. On the plus side of all this, though, I have to add, on the plus side, it wasn't our Earth. It wasn't our Earth.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that was probably the thing that was the thing that I think this movie did well. Is, you know, normally in comic book movies, unless it's an emotional death, you normally don't kill off a character. Like, you know, Logan died basically after living a long life, or you know,
wasn't that good?
Well, not that good life, but like
it wasn't good at all.
A life.
A life. He breathed and drank and banged women. That's it.
But basically, that's like kind of like where I'm going with this. Is that the way that this was shot? There's a scene where she's fighting Captain Carter, and she throws the shield, and she holds the shield for a second, and she like chucks it back, basically right through. They don't show it, because I think that would be too gory. But they show her like last look on her face, and then they show the bloody shield like past her, and So the way they shot it was really good, and I was like, wow, that's the the shock factor. Holy crap! I think like she's actually killing these characters. Holy fuck! And then I literally had that
shock factor. The shock factor was like off the charts. It was like. We were both jumping off our seats.
Yeah.
And it's a cool roller coaster, too, because when the Illuminati was introduced and Professor Xavier came out, like, everybody was, like, clapping. There was clapping at our theater, so we got fortunate. We got fans when we went to watch it. There was clapping, there was like excitement, there was like, yeah, woo! John Krasinski is Mr. Fantastic, and we got Charles Xavier in the chair. We got Black Bolt, the fucking Inhumans, and then they're all dead.
Yeah, that was.
That's exactly how the excitement went. It went to plummet.
Yeah, that was just like I know that's what I was saying about like. How it was a very weird way, like there's no way that some of these characters could die the way they did. Like Carol, the new Carol Danvers version that they had on the Illuminati, she dies because a statue fell on her. Like
I don't see that happening. That Captain Marvel is the OP version. Like she is one of the strongest versions of the Captain Marvel. Like she couldn't die but a rock falling on her. Her body's can handle going through space.
They basically had to allow them to kind of move the plot forward so that you can see like, oh my god, Wanda is that dangerous and that she's actually killing people, and this is this is definitely very different from the Wanda that I know.
Let's not forget that there's a series called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. Yeah. This man right here legitimately went throughout the whole freaking multiverse and killed everyone, including Galactus, single-handedly.
Speaking of, I will say this, and this is probably the more of your point, John, where you were saying that we don't have, or like the shock factor, not the shock factor, the gore factor wasn't too much, but they actually did a bit of, I guess you could call it an homage. They brought back Supreme Strange, who was in the beginning of the movie. That's how the movie also starts too. Is Supreme Strange and America Chavez are trying to get to. I apologize, I forgot. Like the MacGuffin, the MacGuffin book that is supposed to save everything and allow.
The Book of Ashante.
The Book of Ashante, yeah, and basically, he dies trying to protect, or trying to stop the monster that's attacking America Chavez. and ends up still in the 616 universe. Oh, and I will mention this. I am very happy. They actually have officially stated now in the MCU that our version of the MCU is the 616 MCU.
Yep.
There is actually
it's official
now. Yep, it's official. In a scene where they're counting Earths, it's like, oh yeah, he was from Earth 813, and they're like, oh, you've actually counted Earth? And it's like, yeah, it's like your Earth is actually 616. So ours is the 616, which is the original universe.
Main
right.
Marvel Universe continuity, yes. 100% time stamped, confirmed. Done.
Yes.
No more debates. Alright, fellow nerds, no more debates about this is the MCU is a universe of its... No, the MCU is main Marvel.
I didn't think that they introduced the X-Men. I wish they did something like...
They did, though. They did. They gave us a theme song. They gave us Professor Xavier. That is enough.
No.
On this point, I would say that everything that they did here, which just actually came to mind right now, by the way, is that they used Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness as a testing ground for the fans to see if this would be really where they want us to expand. It was almost like a petri dish, like, let's give them all the tidbits of what we've been hearing from fans, and let's see if they make enough buzz about it. Well, we're giving you buzz. This is one of the videos right now, Marvel. Well, come on.
I'm pretty certain they've done that, like, kind of buzz before, like, trying to make a little... Like, I think that actually was done in WandaVision, honestly. When Pietro made the crossover, and people were seeing how... that was the testing ground I was talking about. But what I'm more upset about is... Alright, number one, we know there is a comic run called The House of M. And we know that in that situation... You had the Scarlet Witch. We had magic introduced. We had all these things, and you could have made one line. All you need to do, you don't even need to show anyone. All you need to do is
more mutants,
something like that. Like, or please, like we just need to bring more heroes, or more. We need to bring more. People like me into the universe. Mm-hmm. Like anything, any line like that would have been perfect enough to create a reality where that actually began and created like this whole, like, okay, now there's a possibility that she just brought in the mutants by accident or whatever. And right now, as far as I can tell, I can't really see a way of them bringing in mutants unless they do something very drastic right now. And Marvel has the rights to Fantastic Four, and we have a movie coming up soon in a few years. My worry is now that they may not use John Krasinski. This might have been the like I said, the fan service. Yeah. But that basically means this is all you're getting. This is our
that is one of the worries. That is, I 100% agree with that. That's a big worry that they're not going to bring back Professor Xavier back, the one that we want. Unless they do bring back the first class one. I genuinely enjoyed that younger version of Professor Xavier, and I'd be okay with that. I'd even be okay with the original roster of Jean Grey or like any of those in the roster, because they were actually good younger versions. I just feel they were misdirected.
I think that is true, and I think that Marvel will be able to correct that train. But again, this was the movie that you had the ability to do that. You don't need. You could say in 5 years, this is the mutants. You already introduced on their end as well. Inhumans.
But they did. They this movie did already introduce mutants.
But not for our Earth. But not for our Earth.
As long as it's on screen in MCU, buddy, that shit counts. It's like I'm going to go Fast and Furious. It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. They introduced in the cinematic universe. They're there.
Okay, I mean, I'll give you that, but they
didn't use the M word, but they used everything around it that's mutants.
But you know that's
and WandaVision was previous before they bought Fox.
Well, keep in mind that the way that they used that term was they call them enhanced. Remember, that was how they used to call them, enhanced. beings. They had to, and they may have been finishing up the contract with Fox and other studios before finalizing to say like this is you're a mutant, or that's what you have, a mutant X gene. But now we do know. I will say you this: having Professor X in the MCU shows that in our MCU there is the possibility of bringing together that.
I don't know. You fans decide. Go in the comments and decide. Team Alex says there's no mutants in the MCU. Team Fit Nerd says there's mutants in the MCU.
No, I did not say MCU. I said our Earth. Just so it's confirmed. The Earth of 616 right now. Now, the other thing I'll mention, just the thing I really didn't like, and I'm not 100% certain, because as far as I know from you, John, you're the one who told me this. I don't, and because I haven't really looked it up myself personally, but you've said that Elizabeth Olsen has been confirmed for upcoming Marvel projects, and rumored
a new extended contract, which I will
contract.
agree.
But I haven't finished it.
No, I was agreeing with you that you have a valid point.
In the movie, she supposedly dies. Supposedly, we don't see her actually die. We see a giant building collapse on her.
And it farted a red spark.
And then it farted a red spark. I don't know, I didn't see the red spark, but...
when the building crashed in the middle, it went... Pfft, like, you see all the red come out. Like, the red power shit that, she has.
Oh, yeah. Well, now, a few theories could go out there. Now, it could be that she zapped herself out, someone else came in and saved her, took her out before that happened. Right. Maybe Vision. It could be Vision. Has been watching the whole time, but didn't want to get interfered, and maybe at the end he maybe wanted to save her and not take her own life and stuff like that. It could be that they were setting her up for maybe like a WandaVision 2.0 kind of thing, like another movie or TV series or something else. But as far as we know, she is dead, and that's very odd to say about a superhero, especially someone
100% agree with you in that
comes off of it. Like think about
it's confusing.
But when you think about the deaths we've already had on screen, we've had
Professor Xavier.
Professor Xavier. But I'm talking about emotional ones. Now, regardless of what your opinion is about it, Natasha Romanoff, that was an emotional scene. That was not like a quick death. That was her falling to her death in that sense. In what was it? Endgame. I think it was Endgame or Infinity. I can't remember.
Endgame.
Endgame. Yeah, sorry. Endgame. Yeah.
For the Soul Stone.
For the Soul Stone. Even though he's technically still alive, it's the death of well, not death, but like the off-screen death of Captain America. He could come back, of course, but the contract is done right now with Chris Evans. And then, of course, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., those were all on-screen, big emotional deaths. And Elizabeth Olsen had a building fall on her. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, some of these things were like...
It wasn't so emotional.
It wasn't so emotional. Yes, she had an emotional beat before that, but still.
It's also that she's the villain in this movie, which, by the way, I called it. I said that if the possible villains that would have been for this movie would have been either Cthulhu, which they did mention, by the way, that helped make the temple that was actually for Wanda. So I was kind of semi-right on that. And I mentioned Nightmare, or it's going to turn out that they're going to spin it around that it has to be Wanda searching for her kids. Guess what? It turned out Wanda being searching for her damn kids. So... word for word, that's what I said.
Well, wholeheartedly, I honestly thought that she would become the villain. I didn't know if that was going to be the first villain we face. Like, when they were talking about a demon's been chasing me or a monster's been chasing me, I was like, okay, so we got a demon here. But then I was going to think that once Wanda found out about America Chavez, then she would be after her too, which that part I was right on. But
you were right about that, because the whole movie, that was the whole movie. That was the whole movie. And
then I was a little off, but the Illuminati were also after, not directly, but after her as well. Although they were more along the lines of Doctor Strange, because as far as they said, Doctor Strange is the biggest threat to the multiverse. Now, speaking, I think we could probably move a little bit toward the end, because a lot of the stuff in between. I would say some of my things I liked the most were the fight scenes that were so good. The animations, the visual effects were really, really cool to watch, and yeah, like that was really something that I loved. It was really like taking like if you watch the first Doctor Strange, it was like that when the Ancient One puts her thumb and throws him into like his acid trip, kind of like, you know, Technicolor like. Wormhole.
We kind of revisited that. Actually, that's a valid point. That they kind of nodded to that when America Chavez opened the gate and Doctor Strange tossed himself at her, and they went through all the different multiverses. Which, by the way, they went by so fast that we definitely have to watch this movie again and just focus on that one single scene, because there is a lot of Easter eggs when they passed through all of them, and including the animated one. Remember, there was a section where they were animated.
That one was kind of a play on what if verse, because
yeah, the animation was actually the same. Yeah, you're right.
Other than that, I think that, you know, a lot of they had a lot of fun. I think my favorite I'll ask you this, John. Who is your favorite cameo? I think you know mine, but
I mean, you know which one's mine. You know which one's mine. Everybody knows which one's mine. Mine was Xavier. That's it.
Okay.
That's my bread and butter. That was, you know, I don't even give a crap that Deadpool or like that is 100% like X-Men exist. And yes, we're nearing toward it. We're not telling you how we're doing it. We're not telling you when we're doing it. But the fact is, there's the bald guy with the yellow chair. So we're gonna give you that. Just give us time. That's all I heard from Marvel. I heard it loud and clear. And I'm gonna give them time. As a fan, I'm gonna be 80 years old, and we're like, we finally got Wolverine in yellow spandex! Yay!
I don't know. You can. I mean, if you've been waiting
right
that time to see Daniel Radcliffe.
right at the movie theater when that finally freaking happened. He did it! Right there, I'm gonna croak. Right there. 88 years old or some shit.
I can totally see you dressing up in your Wolverine stuff, and then just like. I gotta say that even though seeing John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, which I was
dope.
really dope. My favorite cameo was seeing Bruce Campbell. They did a scene. I'll say this was like one of my favorite little references in this. If you know anything about this director Sam Raimi, you know that he did the Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead, with Bruce Campbell way back, in the 70s and 80s. And what was very funny is that they go to this like universe where, by the way, best snack I think I'm going to be trying to make is pizza balls. Which is
pizza
like,
balls.
It's like a meatball made of pizza. Like that literally looked delicious. I kind of wanted to go. Yeah, I wish that the theater we were at had the pizza ball. It was like they were just doing a promotion and
another miss on marketing there. Hello, AMC, you could have capitalized on this. Well, then again, you're watching the movie, you would have never guessed it.
Yeah, no,
or people would have. Yeah, I mean now it would make sense.
But that was my favorite moment, honestly, was that. And there's a line where she says, like, I've been to like 70 something of these universes, and most of them are free. Like they don't charge you for any of this. And then she walks away, and he says, "Oh, hey, girl, you're supposed to pay for this." And she turns back, and like Doctor Strange is like, "We don't have time for this." So he does a little quick spell, and basically makes him like start punching himself with his hand. So if anyone knows, that is a reference to Evil Dead, where he basically his hand becomes like possessed. So it was, for me, that actually was cracking me up, and he was just like, he was doing the whole thing almost like what if you were watching, you would think that he was back in Evil Dead for a second, like, oh yeah, boom boom boom, and then like taking his hand, like taking him and like hitting him against like the pole. It was very much like his comedy. At the end, second credit scene is just him saying, "We're done." It follows back, and he's like it's like stopped hitting him, and he looks at it, and he's like, we're done. It's done. And like it was just like basically saying to the audience like, that's it. You're getting nothing else. Go. You're done. The movie's done. Bye. But he was saying it like the hand was like stopped hitting him. So that was like my small little fun moment. I was very much impressed that they did little thing of that. I will say this though. I was very, very impressed with how they made her powers work at the end. I think that has to be my favorite use of a power, like not like a laser from the hand, like Iron Man lasers, or like I would say the only one that kind of gets that for me is like when Wolverine does like his like shield with the fingers like this, or I mean with the blades like this, or like the what's it called? The vibranium shield when like he's holding the shield in Civil War, but she punched Wanda into a star. Like I mean, she
broke into another reality. Like
she broke Wanda into another reality,
and that's comic accurate because that's literally how she does it. She punches into another reality and she creates that big star thing, which kudos to Marvel again with the accuracy. They gave us a giant star looking and it didn't look cheesy. That was one of my worries, that it would look cheesy. It didn't. The way they designed it, it broke reality. It's just
it looked great. I honestly was super impressed with how everything worked out. And then let's I think we could finish this up by talking about go ahead.
Real quick, adding to your Bruce Campbell cameo. When they met Bruce Campbell, it was actually really funny that he knew who Doctor Strange was and who America Chavez was. And that he said that, the Darkhold. So there was a little tiny like nudge towards like, I dealt with the crazy ass book that had magical abilities of evil.
Oh yeah, I didn't even catch that.
He mentioned the book, or like, I've the Darkhold. I've dealt with the Darkhold. Like, he dealt with the book. The Evil
that's
Dead
a good
book,
catch. I did not catch that.
Which is a Darkhold in the Evil Dead universe. So that's again Sam Raimi with his kudos to nudging towards little things like that, or the fact that that Wanda scene with the remember Evil Dead, that the demons like coming out and chasing person, and they did that with Wanda, which is pretty dope. I like. They had
a really cool. They even did a small little horror thing where when she was in the sewers, and you see like she's like, where did she go? And then she pops up and she has the red eyes for a second. And then she goes into the light, which it takes away. But it was like a bit of a jump scare kind of thing. Like, not, I mean, again, you're knowing that she's probably going to pop up. But I will say that alright, so you and I spoke about this a little earlier at the end credit. And I'm going to just mention this here before we even get into it too much. But before seeing the movie, there's been a recent comic start that was, it's a remade comic for Doctor Strange. That was released last year and is called The Death of Doctor Strange. Now, the ending of this movie I thought was interesting because it felt it definitely felt very, I guess, in a way incomplete. Like everything was good. It was like he had fixed his watch. He's gotten over his like pain and was about to move on, and then he walks out. And you see this panel, or I should say this thing where he's in the middle of the street and he bends down and he's in pain and the third eye pops up on his head. Now, if early in the movie, didn't mention this before, but he meets himself, the Dark Doctor Strange, which ends up having the same eye, and mainly because I believe he's using like dark magic. And he gets this third eye, which is probably like associated with that, and meaning that he may have some connection to the dark dimension now. And the mid-credit scene then introduces a character named Clea, played by Charlize Theron.
Yeah, she looks amazing.
Yeah, she looks
amazing.
And at the first,
she looks amazing in anything, but this was just like superhero, like cool.
Now, I'll admit that when I came into it, I thought for looking at, I was like, wait a minute, is that the wife from Ant-Man and the Wasp? Is that like, are they going to connect this to Quantumania? Because that's supposed to be coming out in 2023, so next year. So it would make sense that they wanted to connect it to that. And also they have a few other things associated with like Kang the Conqueror and things like that. But as we started researching a little bit into it, it reminded me of the death of Doctor Strange. And in this comic book, without going too deep into the comic book, we have the comic, The Death of Doctor Strange. But basically, if you notice, like the comic here, these are practically the exact same movements, the exact same wardrobe that we saw right at the end here. And basically, Clea is associated with Doctor Strange because in the comics, she's actually one of his love interests. And she's also the niece of Dormammu and the daughter of the ruler of the Dark Dimension. So it's very interesting that they may be connecting this, and that might be Doctor Strange's way of leaving the MCU after the next movie. And that's, I think, where they're heading, because the mid-credit scene is that she comes in, she says to Doctor Strange that he's created an incursion in the universe, and at first I thought it was like, okay, is it because they just went through too many, like, you know, you had the Spider-Man No Way Home, and you had him traveling multiverses now, and I thought for a second that they were talking about Quantumania, but actually they might be talking about the deal he made with Dormammu of bringing back people with the time stone and everything. So they may be catching up with him now, and so it's very interesting where this next is going to, you know, where it's going to head next. They may be introducing younger versions. They may have America Chavez come in, maybe even as a way of replacing Doctor Strange, or having someone else come in to fill a role with basically controlling, helping with the magic element of it.
And let's point out that every single thing we heard about the main villain of this movie, they were all wrong. It ended up being Wanda after all.
It was Wanda.
It was Wanda all along.
Actually, you know, I will say that in terms of cameos, I kind of missed having I think it's Catherine Hahn who plays Agatha in the series, and I actually thought that she may make an appearance. You know, whether to get help, maybe she'll be in a deleted scene. I don't know.
Oh, but what if that's the person that possibly may have? We saw the red spark when the building collapsed.
It could.
She popped her in like, wait, listen, young little witch. Let me teach you about being bad.
It could be.
Because in the comics, she is taught by Agatha. Agatha does give her mentorship, like, to Wanda Maximoff. And so does Doctor Strange, but I don't think that's clearly going to happen. So that was tossed out the window. But if then there's a slight chance that they might. I honestly, personally, don't think it would be a good idea. But we already established that we're going to have an Agatha show coming to Disney Plus, and this scene, if she did pull her out, the whole actual series may be her mentoring Wanda to be not be such a bitch.
No, it really could. It could be that's what happened. Maybe she'll forget her memory. I don't know. I mean, it could be they could make her, a villain. She can make her another villain. Yeah, no more mutants, no more heroes. It could be something like that. She could say,
"Oh shit, no more heroes, bro." That's
no more
totally
heroes.
a way they can do it.
They could do something with that. Maybe it could also mean that there's no more heroes on 616, and then they have to start recruiting from other dimensions, which is also a possibility.
I'll be honest. I liked Multiverse of Madness. I enjoyed it. I was okay with it. It was entertaining. I think it was a good movie, and I believe, really quick, your rating and my rating, like, I rated it a 3 out of 5 stars. You know, out of a 1 to 5 rating, I rated it a 3. I believe you rated it.
I rated it as a 3.5, which was fun. It was funny. We were doing the non-spoiler TikTok after the movie. And we were going over our thoughts, trying to be as gentle with spoilers as possible.
Very gentle.
Yeah, very gentle. And
we couldn't even talk about it, really.
And we were like, yeah. And so, like, I think I would rate this movie probably about a 3.5. And that's, like I said before, my own I will say, I probably have a little bit of bias with these opinions, but I mean,
we all do. They're valid. They're valid.
But I gave it a 3.5 only because I felt like there were times where either the scene took too long to happen or it was too, too short, too rushed. And the fact that I feel like they had wasted potential in some respects. Now, of course, maybe the production of this movie, even though they had reshoots, keep in mind, was open. I feel like they could have just done a little bit more to encourage the X-Men, at least introduce the concept of mutants or something to put in there.
In my opinion, I think I got enough.
I mean,
it would have been too convoluted. It would have made the movie way more convoluted because each one of them needs their own piece. Another point is that I definitely want to state that this was a good standalone movie. It did not have to be connected to anything. It isn't connected to anything at all. It's on its own. Doctor Strange. I love this new trend that Marvel is doing where they're putting all of these movies and going in a comic book way of doing things, which is correct, is Doctor Strange doing his own thing. Fantastic Four, they're doing their own thing. Spider-Man doing his own thing. Like, they're all doing their own thing, their own chapters. Like, we're going to have Kang and all this scenario with Kang and everything, but I think it's going to be completely different from whatever's going to happen in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't want this whole Marvel movies are connected to one another. I think
they can't
it's
just
been
have
done
it like
since
that.
Endgame. Yeah, of course they can, because that's how comics work.
No, but that's how the success has been. Like, I get that what you're saying. I truly also believe that you should have a movie that can stand on its own. Like, that's part of the reason I love The Winter Soldier so much, is that movie is very much a self-contained movie. Like, you could watch it and say, this was a spy movie, but at the end, it kind of connects to the future of the Marvel Universe and all those other things associated with it. But that said, I think that the beauty of these movies is that it rewards you. It's almost like, okay, I'm going to see this movie. Let me see what happens, what changes that are going to happen. Let's think about like how we got to Endgame for a quick second. We introduced, the Vision. We introduced Infinity Stones a few movies. Oh, this is where we're putting this Infinity Stone. This one's who the Collector is going to have. This one's in Loki's staff. Like this, they were kind of like mixing and matching and giving you a little bit of Easter eggs and saying, are they going to do something with the Infinity Stones? Are they going to do the Infinity Line story? And then you finally get, oh my god, we got this big crossover movie that's Thanos. I think it is a good movie. I don't think it's the best movie I've ever seen. I think that even I know a few people who I was speaking to earlier who are not John, but they said that they thought it was better than Spider-Man No Way Home. I was like surprised to hear that, and I was like, all right, you need to explain your logic. Yeah,
you need to give me reasoning and elaborate.
Yeah. But everyone is entitled. Everyone's entitled.
Everybody can have their own opinion. I personally don't think this was. I was anticipating this to be better than No Way Home. I don't believe that now.
That's what I think. That's what I think was the big problem in marketing this movie. Was they were saying, guess what? We're gonna have multiverse. Not like you thought seeing 3 Spider-Man on screen was a big thing. No, we're gonna do even bigger now. And they did in the sense that yes, they did. They were like, X and
here they are, and now they're not.
Right. So I think that they did something in that movie where it was like, no, it wasn't as big as Spider-Man No Way Home. But that said, I think the future is very bright for the Marvel Universe. I was really kind of disappointed because we're talking about multiverses, we're talking about different timelines, and we're not going to include Loki. But you made a good point to me also earlier tonight, and you said that, there are 2 different things that we're talking about here. We're talking about multiverses, in other words, different parallel universes to ours, and traveling across them with a sense of magic. And Kang is more science. Kang comes from a very far future, and we're actually talking about more timelines than we are talking about multiverses. So time and multiverse are, in a sense, 2 separate things that they may be trying to differentiate between. But if they weren't trying to do that, because I do definitely remember them saying multiverse in that in the show, and I really thought that Loki was going to be part of that. But I also know that in terms of reshoots, Loki was supposed to have a full season. Like what we got was actually a half season. Because of COVID, because of restrictions, they cut it to the episodes we got, which I think was like 9. I don't remember if it was 8 or 9.
It's like 9 or 10, but at least they're confirmed on the second season already. So
right, but that was supposed to be the continuation of the first season. If we had not had COVID, we would have had a full season, including I think 6 or 7 episodes that would have gone into our second season. And we know that this is true because also What If had the same problem, in that What If had the Gamora story that we saw them come together, but we never got the Gamora story, and that's supposed to be the first episode that's going to be released for the second season. Is going to be retelling the Gamora. They may scrap that completely since that's a different thing.
Alright folks, you know what to do. If you like this video, give us a like, smash the subscribe button. We are doing a 50k subscriber giveaway for the Nano Iron Man Gauntlet, fully loaded with the Infinity Stones and LED lights. Simply hit the subscribe button, comment below, and like this video. This is Fit Nerd!
And this is Flash Fanatic. Over and out.
T-shirts, tank tops, mugs, totes, stickers, face masks, and so much more. So if you want to check out some of our latest official merch, take a look right below the video.